football, basketball, and baseball. In those days, they were our three prime sports. I matriculated from high school to the University of Pittsburgh, where I received a football scholarship at Pitt. I had a Bachelor of Arts degree in history, and I had a Master of Arts degree in education. Because I was fortunate that I joined the Air Force ROTC at Pitt. I was in Air Force ROTC for 4 years, and I received my second lieutenant's commission upon graduation. And that was the start of my Air Force career, all as a result of my being in Air Force ROTC. I reported to active duty, and remember distinctly, in January of 1955. I reported to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. And I went through 2 or 3 months of indoctrination, officer indoctrination courses, so to speak. And then I was assigned to Parks Air Force Base in Oakland, California, to what was known then as the Air Defense School. It was a 3-month school. It was a top secret school. And upon graduation of that particular school, you were awarded the AFC of an air policeman. And when I graduated from Air Base Defense School at Parks Air Force Base, I received orders to report to Torrejon Air Force Base in Spain. I thought that would be nice. Well, within a few days after receiving my orders, a fax came down from Bowling Air Force Base in Washington, D.C., indicating that the orders have been revoked and I am being assigned to Bowling Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. I first was made aware of the revoking of my initial orders to Spain. I was kind of down a little, so to speak, because I was inwardly looking forward to assignment in Spain. But I didn't know what was ahead of me at Bowling. I did know this, that the reason I was being assigned to Bowling Air Force Base is, at that time, Bowling Air Force Base was the Air Force's representative football team. The Air Force Academy had not yet come into existence. So Bowling Air Force Base was the Air Force's representative football team, a worldwide representative. In fact, 10 of our starting 11 players at Bowling for the time frame that I reported had already played a year in the National Football League. That's how loaded we were. So I was selected. They had a system where at Bowling Air Force Base, through their personnel department, they kept their eye on who was coming out of college, who they thought would be outstanding football players to play at Bowling. And I happened to be in that category without my knowledge. And I was assigned to Bowling, and here I am now at Bowling, reporting in, not knowing other than I was sent there to play football. I still had to have a primary duty, and I didn't know yet what that primary duty was. We played other service football teams, primarily the Army and the Marines, Quantico, Camp Lejeune, and 2 or 3 other Air Force teams and Army teams, Fort Hood and others. And every one of those teams that we played were in the same category as we were at Bowling. They were loaded up with college football players, and some of them already professional football players, and they were sent to their respective Army and Marine posts with the express purpose of playing football, just as we were brought to Bowling to represent the Air Force. So we played competition that was equivalent to our basic playing personnel. And it was tough football. A football field that held about 12 to 15,000 people, really, and every Saturday it was sold out. The football field was right at Bowling Air Force Base. In fact, we were so recognized as the Air Force's representative team. All of our games were televised, and we received as much attention to our football game results as the Washington Redskins did in Washington. We had the same sports page coverage as they did. In fact, at that time, General Curtis LeMay, who was Air Force General, and General Twining, who was the Air Force Chief of Staff, wherever they were around the world, which they were many times, they always flew in every Saturday to watch us play. And that's how our football team was held in such high esteem throughout the Air Force. Once the Air Force Academy came in 1959, then football at bowling disappeared. When I reported into bowling, I naturally had a sense of apprehension about what my duty assignment would be, because even though we were brought there to play football, we still had to have primary duty assignment. That was our main purpose as Air Force officers. And I was assigned with an Air Police AFC to the Air Force Honor Guard. And at first, I was taken back, not knowing the full magnitude of the cherished expressions by Air Force personnel for the Air Force Honor Guard at bowling. They were the Air Force best. And when I gradually began to find that out, I felt honored that I was assigned to be in the Air Force Honor Guard. And from the moment I checked in and signed in as a Air Force Honor Guard guardsman, I was caught up in it, and I was elated, and I was ready to go. And my duty probably revolves around the Honor Guard mission. And the Honor Guard mission was to represent airmen to the American public and the world, and to protect the standards and perfect the image and preserve the heritage of the Air Force Honor Guard. In order to do that, and to fulfill that mission, we were responsible for a multitude of ceremonies. Arlington Cemetery, and one of our responsibilities in the Air Force Honor Guard at bowling was to interact with the old guard, who were responsible out of it's a combination now of Fort Myer, Fort McNair. They're joined together now. And we were always involved many times, numerous times a year, with joint ceremonies at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, primarily with a number of wreath dedications. There was always some dignitary coming into Washington, D.C., who they wanted to bestow an honor upon, presenting a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and that involved the Honor Guard having to be there. And so we performed many, many joint services, not only for that particular activity, but on Memorial Day, July the 4th, numerous other times during the year, we would perform joint ceremonies with the old guard, as they called them, the 3rd Infantry Regiment out of their army post. Because one of our duty assignments were, as an honor guard, we would perform in joint session with the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps Honor Guard. The Coast Guard did not have an honor guard until 1982 was when they first had an honor guard. So the four service, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, we would hold joint ceremonies at then called Washington National Airport, and we would be there for President Eisenhower, because he would always be there to greet an incoming dignitary from a foreign nation, primarily a president or a prime minister. And he was, as the president of the United States, he was at Washington National Airport to greet them. And our responsibility as the honor guard was to serve there with President Eisenhower to be a part of the receiving line, so to speak. And President Eisenhower would troop our line. He would inspect us before the plane came in. Well, I felt honored before an aircraft with a visiting dignitary came in. President Eisenhower would come over to me. He would be a few feet away, and he would say to me, "Good morning, Lieutenant. How are you?" I said, "Fine, sir." He'd say, "It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, sir." And we would have some informal chat for 5-7 minutes. And I did that numerous times because we pulled, 50, 100 of those ceremonies over a 2.5 year period. And I didn't realize it, what that led to, those conversations with the President of the United States. Because I'm in our Honor Guard office at Bowling one day, and our commander called me in and said, "Bill, we just had a phone call. You might be interested in this from the Department of Defense." It was 1956. President Eisenhower was ready to be inaugurated for a second term. And they said the Department of Defense said that President Eisenhower recommended that you be the officer in charge of a enlisted man cordon around the presidential box at the Mayflower Hotel. Well, what I found out was the case. There were 11 enlisted men from the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force, 44 men selected with an officer in charge, and President Eisenhower recommended that I be the officer in charge to form a cordon around the presidential box at the inaugural ball. I will vividly remember the environment of that activity, because when President Eisenhower walked in with Mamie Eisenhower, his wife, and they played "Hail to the Chief," that tune, I never forgot it. It was such an honor to call my men to attention during the playing of the "Hail to the Chief," and then order arms. And the other factor that brought joy to that activity was when the ceremony was over, we were permitted to stay at the ball and intermingle. And there were two well-known orchestras playing at the ball. It was Fred Waring and the Pennsylvanians and Lawrence Welk. And I got to speak to Lawrence Welk, got to talk to him. He was so kind to me, and he was impressed with our cordon around the presidential box, and he told us that. I got to meet Alice Lawn, who then was the champagne lady, and it was such an enjoyable to read because it's the Air Force Honor Guard Creed. It's an oath that every member that's coming into the Honor Guard takes. It's an oath. It's an oath that has such prominent words. I had to take it, and the words for anybody, let alone anybody that served in the Honor Guard, have such meaning. And this is what you had to say when you took the oath. "I am a proud member of the United States Air Force Honor Guard, handpicked to serve as a member of the Honor Guard. My standards of conduct and levels of professionalism must be above reproach, for I represent all others in my service. Others earned the right for me to wear the ceremonial uniform, one that is honored in a rich tradition and history. I will honor their memory by wearing it properly and proudly. Never will I allow my performance to be dictated by the type of ceremony, the severity of the temperature, or the size of the crowd. I will remain superbly conditioned to perfect all movements throughout every drill and ceremony. Obligated by my oath, I am constantly driven to excel by a deep devotion to duty and a strong sense of dedication that runs deeper than patriotism. Representing every member, past and present, of the United States Air Force, I vow to stand sharp, crisp, and motionless by choice, for I have voluntarily chosen to represent every member, past and present, of the Honor Guard, for I am a ceremonial guardsman. And that's the oath that every ceremonial guardsman takes when they come aboard, and it's something that I will carry with me the rest of my life, and everybody that has served in the Air Force Honor Guard will do the same. Great memories of my years with the Honor Guard. And one of my memories is a side memory in comparison to the joy of being an officer in charge of all these ceremonies, including Arlington. It was a joy that I wasn't aware that I was providing for my troops. And I have a plaque here that was given to me in May of 2001 at our Honor Guard reunion at Bowling. And they presented it to me, and it's called the SOB Award. And when they called me up, my troops at our reunion, and they said, we want to present this SOB Award. I said, oh man, I said, I didn't know my troops felt that way toward me. And let me just recite what it says. SOB Award presented to William D. Priatko, First Lieutenant, Security Squadron, Bowling Air Force Base. You are hereby presented the SOB Award for action that was far above the stinking gung-ho. Already an officer and a gentleman, you became a hero by rescuing many rowdy young recruits incarcerated by the Washington, D.C. and Armed Services Police. While they were just trying to have a little clean fun, you will always be remembered by the troops as a first-class BS artist. That's butt saving. So this SOB Award brought back a memory for me when they presented it to me when I was the squadron commander in the Honor Guard unit. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I was wakened out of bed, and it was the Washington, D.C. Police Department. And they said to me, Commander, we hate to bother you. I said, what's up? They said, we have a few of your men here that we have behind the bars, and they were acting up and this and this and that. And I said, hold on till I get down there. I'll be down. So, boom, I got out of bed at 3 in the morning and hopped in my vehicle to get out to D.C. And there were about 7 or 8 of my troops behind the bars. And I went in, I said to them, what's up, guys? What were you doing? And they said, we were just singing, laughing, had a few beers. The next thing we know, this is where we're at. We're arrested. And I looked at him, and I went out to the chief of police. I said, Chief, I'll take it from here. He said, all right, they're yours. I took him back to the base. We sat in my officer's room, my office, and I said to all of them, hit the sack and get some rest. They all thought I was going to bust them in rank and have some other restrictions. And I said, you guys were just having some good fashioned fun. And I think you've all learned from it. And that's all that matters. And I kind of forgot about that until they presented this to me at our Honor Guard reunion. And I said, I have never been so proud to receive an SOB award for those that we bury, for those whoever we're performing a ceremony for. We want them to remember this incident and this burial and this particular ceremony, we want them to remember that we served their loved one with dignity. And that was our goal. And we had that goal at every burial at Arlington. The moment we got on the bus to drive to Arlington, when my men got on that bus, they were professionals. They chit-chatted a little bit in low tones, but when we got off of that bus in front of the Fort Myers Chapel to fall out and formulate our honor guard procedures, everybody was all business. Everything was professional. The guys knew that the eyes were upon them, not only by families, by others and other service members, to prove and show that we were proud to be members of the Honor Guard. And we wanted to do it with dignity. Yep. When I think back to all those people next of kin that I presented that flag to and how they felt, and I put myself in their shoes. I can remember one funeral was an Air Force captain that got killed flying a kite with his little boy. Heard he had a piece of metal on it or something and hit a high tension wire, died, got killed. And we're burying this captain. And here's this little 8-9-year-old thing there. And I had to present the flag to them. And that little boy was just crying and his widow was crying. And you have to maintain your dignity and but you felt so bad for them. And there were so many incidents where people tragically died or some didn't and others did. Didn't make any difference what rank you were. General, a one-stripe airman.
Yeah.
The same feeling, the same degree of professionalism, of dignity afforded to them no matter what their rank was. And they remembered that.
Yeah.
I have been blessed in life to be a part of different organizations with different types of missions, different type of responsibilities, whether it was in the athletic field as a player in the NFL, as a high school or college football coach, an athletic director, working in administrative positions in the field of education. So many elements of that type of profession gave me great satisfaction and great joy, but nothing, all of those activities combined does not equal the joy and the honor of being an Air Force officer in the United States Air Force Honor Guard and to be a part of numerous funerals and numerous ceremonies. It's something that I will carry with me forever.
first lieutenant. While in the Honor Guard, he demonstrated exceptional leadership skills and dedication. During his time, the commanding officer of the Honor Guard was often engaged in flying missions due to being a pilot and was regularly occupied with higher level meetings. Mr. Priatko assumed the role of leading the unit for a significant amount of time of his tenure. His leadership and commitment to duty caught the attention of President Dwight D. Eisenhower himself. Recognizing Mr. Priatko's capabilities, President Eisenhower personally requested him to serve as the officer in charge of a 44-person Joint Service Cordon during the prestigious presidential inauguration ball. This appointment reflected both the President's trust in Mr. Priatko's capabilities and the high regards in which he was held within the military community.
Thank you, Colonel. I think all of us will say to ourselves many times, where did the time go in life? Well, it's hard for me to believe that 68 years ago, I was blessed and honored when they assigned me to the Honor Guard here at Bowling Air Force Base. Blessed and honored, that's the only way I can say it. I know initially I was sent here because I had played pro football. They sent me here to play football at Bowling because we had a representative football team here at that time because the Air Force Academy didn't come into existence until 1959. So we were the Air Force's football team, and we won the national service title. We should have, 10 out of our 11 starters had already played pro football, so we should have won it. But I can't begin to tell you, here it was 68 years ago, I was blessed, and now I'm blessed this evening to receive this wonderful award that's a culmination of all the joy and the wonder and experiences that I had serving in the Honor Guard. And I can say, in essence and in reality, from the bottom of my heart, that I share this award with all my troops. I had wonderful troops. They were just marvelous. They made my experience as an Honor Guard officer just filled with joy, filled with daily pleasure, and I owe it all to those troops of mine. And in essence, I owe it to all of you, because you all share that bond. We're a family. The Honor Guard is a family, and every one of you here that have served in any capacity in the Honor Guard know exactly what I mean. And I share this award with every one of you. I wish my beloved wife, who passed away, would be here. She would experience this joy with me, but I am honored to have with me my daughter Debbie and my son Dan here this evening. We're a military family. I used to recruit for the Air Force Academy, and my two sons graduated from West Point. So we are a military family. I just want to say two final things. One of them occurred here this evening. I had so many experiences and joys of being in the Honor Guard. You know, I figured it out. I think I was involved in probably 2,000 funerals at Arlington. So many numerous
ceremonies at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and so many other ceremonies. And the thing that touched me the most, when we used to pull joint ceremonies at Washington National Airport for President Eisenhower, and President Eisenhower would come up to me before the visiting dignitary aircraft came in, and he would chat with me. And he'd say, "Good morning, Lieutenant, how are you?" And I said, "Fine, sir. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, sir." And we'd chat for 5-7 minutes, and did it numerous times over the 2 years or so that I pulled that ceremony. So one day I'm sitting in our office here at Bowling, and our commander said, "Bill, come here. I want to tell you this. See if you how you feel about this." He said, "We just got a call from the Department of Defense, and President Eisenhower requested that you be the OIC at his inaugural ball at the Mayflower Hotel as the OIC with 44 honor guard, 11 from each service, and with me as the OIC." And they said that President Eisenhower knew you played football here, he knows how you feel about being in the honor guard, and he requested that I be the OIC at his inaugural ball, and I'll never forget it. It was the epitome of all my years here in the honor guard. And one final thing, I was sitting here this evening with several of the honor guard members who will shortly become members of the honor guard, are in training, and with their training supervisor. And their training supervisor said to me, after I said to him that I was invited to speak in 2011 to the graduating class here at Bowling. And he said to me at the table this evening, "What did you tell that graduating class? What words of wisdom did you impart with them?" And I said to them, "You may not realize it right now, but what you are experiencing will be the greatest joy of your life. The greatest joy of your life. Enjoy it, be proud, because the day will come, and I have found out this evening, and it's come with me, that you will never ever forget the experience and the joy of being in the Air Force Honor Guard. I've been blessed to be a part of numerous professions and different echelons of leadership positions, all of them combined, including my years of playing in the National Football League, all of them combined will never equal the joy and the honor of being in the United States Air Force Honor Guard. And I will cherish this evening, I will cherish till the day I leave this earth, this wonderful unit that this fine colonel now commands, of this beautiful occasion, beautiful respect of what the country sees in all of you, the United States Air Force Honor Guard. I'm proud of every one of you, proud to be here. God bless every one of you.